Meet Chuck. Chuck's a bit of a tool, but he's our friend, so we look past that.
Oh.
Meet Matt.
He's bad.
Matt likes Whataburger.
Yeah.
Not another retro channel.
What's going on, guys? We are at Empire Toys here in Keller, Texas. The guys invited us in today because the biggest, largest collection that has ever walked through these doors here at Empire Toys is here today, and they are going to show us what they got. I'm super stoked, so let's go talk to the owners.
All right, so we had, well, we didn't know at first. We now have what is the biggest find. We're gonna call it a find. The biggest find we've ever had. Something that realistically we'll never have again, really. Something we never would have expected. In 4 years, almost 5 years being in business, we've never had anything even remotely close to this. Matt has more detail than I could even possibly attempt to explain, but it is by far our sickest find.
Chuck was on Texas Today, and some lady watched it, and she called the store like 3 or 4 times, talked to Malrod, said she had a bucket of toys from her late husband, and she brought it in a legit Walmart shopping bag. And it was, we just saw last 17 Star Wars stuff, so we purchased this thinking we were just getting last 17 production stuff, which was the exact opposite of what we got.
Luckily, Matt has seen a Star Wars, so he knows a little bit.
They're all loose, they're all kind of played with, and I'm like, there's glue residue all over all of the feet. And I'm like, why is there glue? Did you guys have these displayed? And she says, yeah, my husband worked for Kenner. These were on display at Dallas Market Hall in the Kenner booth.
Did he just say Kenner had them on display?
Yeah, after she told us about the Kenner stuff, we negotiated a deal, we bought them. We kind of just set them aside because we were in a hurry out the door. And the next day started looking at them, and we were like, these are really weird. And really kind of started digging into them. All of them looked a little different colors, hand painted. One had no peg holes. They were just different. They didn't seem like standard production pieces.
I normally know nothing, but it is it's uncommon for us to collectively know nothing. It went from looking like kind of sort of dirty toys, things that like why do they look like this? Someone stuck them to a bottle rocket, and that's why there's glue on them. To wait a second, we might actually have something a lot bigger here. Hence the reason we started trying to figure out who do we contact. And then luckily we were able to get to the right people because Matt knows how to look that up, because I tried a phone book and it's 2023.
We Googled it, and CIB was the place to go. In our first video consultation with Tom Derby at CIB, he recognized a few of them as first shots, but then agreed that the rest were also different looking, but he needed to see them on hand. So we, that was like 3 days after we got them. We boxed them up and shipped them to Georgia. And 4 months later, they came back.
So are you guys going to show us this stuff or what? Like, let's get to it.
Yeah, so what we ended up with was a bunch of first shots, which are essentially, it's like the third variation of a prototype. It goes to the actual prototype, and then it goes to a painted proto mold, and then it goes to the first shots, which are the first out of production. And we ended up with a handful, and then we also got a bunch of regular production pieces, but they had them on display at Dallas Market Hall. So it was essentially buyers would come in and say, what do you got new coming out? And then he would take them over to this area and be like, this is all the new Star Wars stuff and superpower stuff. And we got everything that was on display. All right, so like we talked about, it's all last 17. So we got some bangers. We got an Amanaman, right? And one of the things that we made a conscious decision on is they all have glue residue on the feet from being on display. You can't really see on this one. I'll show you on a different one. We actually got eaten alive on the grades because of that. Like we chose not to clean them when like most people would, because we also wanted to preserve the story. So Amanaman's a big one. Obviously Yak Face, it's like one of the hardest ones to find. You can see the glue residue on his feet still. We chose to leave there, and he's got some paint marks on his back just from being on display. We're like, we're not cleaning it. That one's a banger.
So do they ask you when you send them in, like, hey, do you want the glue on?
Yeah, we talked about it with Tom Derby, who owns CIB. We were like, should we clean them? And he was like, it's up to you. And then Chuck and I decided, like, no, like, part of this thing, it's such like kind of like a historic thing for DFW toys, because this stuff's always found in Ohio. It's never found in Dallas. So it was such a big deal. We wanted to kind of preserve the story that we knew it was going to bone us on the grades, but we were like, we'll take that hit to preserve the story. So this one's cool. What we learned through Tom is this is a proto mold. So it's basically a prototype that's hand painted, and so you can see where it's like losing paint. Right, and the best way to tell is this one doesn't actually have peg holes in the feet. And it was, if I remember, I think these ones come out of a different mold to test it and test the paint and everything. And then it moves on to more of a production piece. So it's got the hand-painted bow and everything. Like, this is like legit. This is the one that kind of told us, like, something's weird with this lot. Like, why is this one hand-painted? At first I was like, maybe a kid just painted it, right? Because that happens all the time. Yeah. But then that's when she started talking about being on display at Kenner, we were like, okay, something weird's going on. So we got first shots. We got 2 different versions of the same work, right? And so this is just your standard first shot. This is what, if you find another one, what more than likely it's going to look like. This one, Tom told us, I can't remember if he said they've never seen it before or if they've seen very few, but it's the same one, but they were changing the colors of the quiver and the cowl, and so they decided to hand paint them. So you can kind of see like the brush strokes and everything on it. So, and it's, we made sure it got documented. Painted quiver, painted hood.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and same thing. It's got, it's got residue all over it from being on display, and like I said, we made that conscious decision. We didn't want to change any of that. Wicket. Wicket is a first shot, but he has a production cowl, which they thought was strange. So they didn't know if maybe the first shot cowl, because all the accessories are first shot as well. So Tom didn't know if maybe the cowl got lost before it was on display, and they just threw this on, because if we would have got another Wicket that was production, it'd be safe to assume they just switched it. But this was the only one, and she brought everything that they had. So that was his best guess, was, maybe they just said, oh, we lost it, we need to display it with one. Here's the production one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, we got some, A-Wing Pilot, which is a good one. I really like the ATST driver, even though he's all color faded, but that was like another kind of tell for us.
So he's last 17, correct?
Last 17, yeah.
So can you tell everybody, like, what is the last 17 in these Kenner Star Wars line?
Last 17 was 1984 through 86. Probably 85 is best way to say it. And they were Kenner trying to hang on to Star Wars. No more movies had come out. They said they were not making any more movies. So they started making more minor characters like an A-Wing Pilot, Yak Face, a Man, and they packaged them with a coin. They inevitably ended up in bargain bins, and then now they are what you would consider the most valuable Star Wars production. Like, there's going to be some variants that are going to be worth way more, but I mean, an A-Wing Pilot with his pistol, which this one doesn't have his accessory, but if you were to have his accessory, it definitely changes. The Anakin one was a pretty easy tell for us because he's hand painted, and like, it's hard to tell in the acrylic, but when you hold it raw, I mean, you could see paint strokes on it. And he has they call it a charcoal robe, so it's a darker robe than the standard one. I don't think we have a standard one to show, but it's mud. When you stand it next to another one, you can tell it's like, I mean, it's noticeably different.
So that was the mail away, right?
That was a mail away, yeah. Okay. Last 17, but it's probably the easiest last 17 to find.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
And it's
affordable.
yeah, you'll get them for $25-30 bucks. Yeah, here's a good last 17. Luke and Battle Poncho. So this one's actually tough to get.
It's a toughie.
Yeah. So same thing. We kind of got beat up on the grade a little bit, 75, but we preserved the glue, stuff like that. Because they don't have peg holes, or some of them don't have peg holes, or the peg holes are half full, so they're just super glued down.
Yeah.
B-Wing Pilot, same thing as the A-Wing. It has a light brown helmet and boots.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can kind of tell the difference. But then these are the cool ones that we got too. So these are actually just production pieces, but they were on display. So a lot of them have, like this one, you can notice how bad the glue is on the feet.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's the stuff that we preserved. And so, like the lady basically said her husband strong-armed them on the way out the door. We don't know if he left or if he got fired or not. So that's the Star Wars stuff. We did get some DC superpower stuff as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got Orion, Flash, and Mr. Freeze that were all verified as first shots.
That's crazy. So all of these were on display at Keller in Dallas as well. Oh, right at the
Yeah, and if you look at the
Market.
flash, right, so verified first shot, no date stamp, no CO. We left, these were glued against a wall. So the glue, as far as we can tell, these were glued against like a backboard probably, like a display. And because they're not as popular as Star Wars was at the time, I think they had their character name on like a plate across their chest.
Okay.
Because the raw ones we have, they have glue residue across the chest.
Okay.
Right, and so that one's still pretty prevalent. One of the other ones, it's like, it's just the best we could tell. It was just like, because this one, it was like when you, it's probably hard to see on camera, but it's almost like a perfect square where it looked like it had like a piece of paper across the chest, probably telling your character name. But these ones we couldn't get verified if they were first shot or production, so we just left them ungraded for the time being.
Well, this is toy history, man, and
It's crazy, right?
This is probably one of the craziest stories I've heard locally.
Same.
About something walking into a shop and like, oh, holy crap, like we got pieces of toy history right here, and just that whole entire process, like you said, it lasted, what, 4 months?
It was supposed to take 30 days, but AFA was really backed up.
Right.
So it ended up, I don't know, it was like 4 months, probably 3 or 4 months.
Which part?
Getting them graded. So they're all graded.
It's like 9 months.
They're all graded. They all have a COA. It has everything documented as far as like where it was set up. So the one we talked about with the painted hood, it has all that there. It lets you know it was a former Kenner employee set up a Kenner booth. Dallas Market Hall. Yeah. So we went through the whole process to make sure it was legit as possible, and we want, like I said, we wanted to preserve the story too, just so everybody knows that like these were Kenner employee items in Dallas, not in Ohio, like normal.
Yeah, because like up in Ohio, I mean,
Not, I mean, like
it's kind of more common. You know,
yeah, we
obviously,
see a handful of Man-to-Man first shots and B-Wing pilot first shots in Ohio.
Yeah.
But like even Tom Derby was kind of like, you found these in Dallas?
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah. And she had them forever, just in a bag, set aside. Finally, was just clearing some space.
So I think it was a really, like, if I were in your shoes about, do we take the glue off? Do we leave it?
Yeah.
Like, I think y'all made the right decision, in my opinion, because it's just history, dude, and such a cool story, and cannot believe this stuff is just.
Because like the grade going up, it adds more value. Man. But for us, like it's the story is the most important part.
So, question: I know you collect Star Wars. Is there any of this, or is it going to go into your personal collection? Or is there something already in your personal collection?
There's one that he got knocked loose from the acrylic.
Yeah.
It's a production one. It's not a first shot.
Okay.
It's the Rebel Commando in the green.
Yeah.
We have that one, and that was the very first vintage Star Wars toy I bought when I started collecting vintage, and I was maybe 12.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, okay, I got to keep this one just because I have a carded one as well.
Yeah.
So I have to keep that one.
That's
Yak
cool.
Face has been the big, like, not like, I don't hide it from anybody. I'm like, the first Yak Face to come through the door at Empire is mine.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to start my loose run until I get a Yak Face. But I'm not going to take that Yak Face.
So while all of these guys are super excited about the Star Wars stuff, the first thing that I saw when they showed us this lot was the superpower stuff, because I love the 1984, 1985 Kenner Superpowers line. So let's take a look at some of the ones that didn't necessarily get graded because they need a little bit more verification, but all of these figures did come in the lot that Matt was just talking about. Right down here, we got Darkseid, Plastic Man, Green Arrow, Aquaman, Dr. Fate, Martian Manhunter, Steppenwolf, Shazam / Captain Marvel, Green Lantern. We got this guy, I forget his name, is Samurai, but I don't want to mess it up any worse than that. Samurai Jack, yeah. We got Clark Kent and Mr. Miracle and another Darkseid with his cape. So all of these are potentially first shots. And one thing that we could look at that might tell us is the paint. So if you look real close on Shazam's lightning bolt, it looks as if it could have been painted on instead of one of the production ones.
Some sort of paint.
It looks like some sort of paint app. But this is a brilliant figure and one that I still need in my collection. So this is one that when they are ready, I'm going to be having a discussion with them about, because if I can add Shazam to my collection and it be a first shot, then that's something that I'm definitely interested in.
Okay, so you saw everything. You got all the quality information from Matt because so knowledgeable and whatnot. Now, how do you buy them? You come here. Call us, email us, fax us, hit us up on social. Visit Keller, Texas, because it's a cool place to be anyway, but come and see all of the toys and buy what you need because they're awesome. Also, if you're not doing anything Saturday, the 25th of November, we don't do Black Friday at Empire Toys because we like to go out and buy blenders and TVs and whatever else we can find. But we do celebrate Small Business Saturday. This Saturday, November 25th, from open to close, we are having our $2 sale. That's right, a $2 sale. We do it every year. It's a huge blowout party. We have $2 toys. We have some $5 and $10 tables. We do mystery boxes. We do doorbuster prizes. Every single thing in the store is going to be part of, some kind of a sale. Anything from 10% off to literally 95% off. So it's time to come in, see this collection, and buy everything else in the entire store. We're trying to clear out the entire thing over the weekend. So come and help us do that.
Metafifth.
And pick it up. All right, talk to the lady.
Hello, lady.
Keep talking to her.
Nah, thanks for calling Empire Toys. This is Matt.
I got some Centurions.
I love Centurions. What else you have?
Maybe Star Wars.
We take that too, especially vintage.
Use dildos.
Adult toys, yes.
Okay.
Daddy. Davey.